Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia help clean homes and cook hot food for desperate flood survivors. Stanford University lists Dr. Hann-Chorng of Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital as a top 2% world scientist. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. Parts of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia have been devastated by flooding. Tzu Chi volunteers went and helped people remove wet furniture from their homes. Tzu Chi Central Kitchen also cooked hot food for the survivors. Take a look.
The flood survivors poured the water out of their homes using buckets.
之前也是会淹到进来的，只是没有到。
昨天是到哪里？
这边吗？
哦。
因为水已经到3层。
The floods were 3 feet deep, so I couldn't open the door.
Here in Kuala Lumpur, the streets are full of devastation, with homes and shops covered in mud. The survivors removed wet furniture from their homes and placed them on the street.
My house has a second floor, so I went to hide there. If I didn't have the second floor, I couldn't move my stuff upstairs.
Tzu Chi volunteers are on the scene to help them remove large furniture and also bring them hot food.
We prepared the food that we will give to them there because they can't cook. Many of their belongings have been damaged.
6 roads are disaster areas, and we have 300 boxed meals.
We didn't eat landslides because we had no power.
This flood reminds people of the floods back in 1970, when the 7-day rain in Kuala Lumpur submerged 3/4 of the land and also killed 53 people. Many senior people still remember it vividly.
The door was locked, so we used a big pair of tongs to cut the lock. Luckily, no one was injured or died.
Tzu Chi volunteers visit survivors to understand their conditions, so they can better assist in the near future.
In Kuantan, Pahang, Malaysia, heavy rains and landslides caused disasters in many low-lying areas. Tzu Chi volunteers conducted a disaster survey to learn the latest situation and do follow-up care. Water levels in many areas have receded, with survivors now tidying their homes.
As the water level on the road is very high, only excavators or large trucks can enter to bring the affected households out to a safe place. The torrential rain in the early morning caused flash floods in the upstream of Tzu Chi Bank in Kuantan, inundating many low-lying areas, and even the cars parked on the roadside are submerged.
Here is Siri Damai Perdana. I heard that more than 300 households were flooded. Today, the affected residents came back hoping to get their belongings, but they can't because the water level almost reached their waist.
In 2013, the water level in my home was like this, but this time it is as high as my waist. I didn't expect that.
The floods came fiercely. Shops and schools are also affected, and many nearby evacuation centers are also full.
I slept in the car because the evacuation center is full. The school is also full, and the parking space over there is full as well.
Tzu Chi volunteers conduct disaster survey as they walk into the disaster area to learn about the actual situation for follow-up care. At present, the water level is receding, and the survivors are returning to their homes to handle the aftermath.
Bohol Island in the Philippines suffered an attack by Super Typhoon Rai. Massive waves as high as 3 meters high led to severe devastation, leading to 72 deaths and 29,000 families in emergency shelters. Take a look.
Along the side of the road, scenes of devastation are hard to watch. This is the fourth day after Super Typhoon Rai made landfall. The residents are drying their clothes in hopes of having something to change into. The children are trying to salvage their textbooks while the adults are looking for cans of food. Some are able to find valuables within the debris, while others are just waiting for fallen trees to be removed.
The power situation is so bleak because so many electric posts has fell down. And water is also a problem because without power, there's no water pump and there's no filtering system for the waterworks to work with. So we're facing a very bleak Christmas.
Bohol Island has been declared a state of calamity, with 29,000 families evacuated and thousands of homes completely destroyed.
And so many houses were destroyed, and it needs a lot of effort to reconstruct and give these people some food for them to sustain in the next few weeks.
Volunteers from Bohol, Manila, as well as Tacloban will work together to gather a name list of those affected before enacting a relief project.
Western Kentucky was hit by a devastating tornado, with Tzu Chi volunteers mobilizing before Christmas Eve to host 2 large-scale distributions. In Mayfield, the hardest-hit area, volunteers from Chicago quickly mobilized to deliver useful materials in time for the holidays. This wall is a memorial for the dead as volunteers send their most sincere blessings. After Chicago Tzu Chi volunteers surveyed the disaster on the 17th, they went to Mayfield once again on the 19th, planning to hold 2 distributions before Christmas. Volunteers gathered blankets, scarves, and other daily necessities in the shortest period of time and sent them to the disaster area.
The Chicago team have been running non-stop these days because they care about the survivors, hoping to give them the supplies as soon as possible. Yesterday, our big truck along with 3 cars carried 1,500 blankets, 4,000 scarves, dealthsy aphorisms, and peace trinkets. All these supplies were arrived at Kentucky Hotel. We are busy packing and hope we can deliver love to the victims in time so that they can feel the love of the people around the world in such a cold winter. We hope to share these blessings from our hearts to the survivors.
Volunteers from all over the world also rushed to help in a timely fashion, helping pack and organize to deliver these warm supplies in time. Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters is 32 years old, and an anniversary event was held at the Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters grounds in San Dimas. However, due to the pandemic, many could only participate online. Here's more.
Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters has gone through 32 years. Looking back on this period, no matter what disaster happened, Tzu Chi people have always been helping.
At the beginning of 1990, 31 years ago, after I joined Tzu Chi, I believed that this is the worthiness of life. Looking back on the course of my own life, there are many turning points in it. The most grateful thing is that I joined the big family of Tzu Chi.
Tzu Chi people across the United States were celebrating their special anniversary online. As the CEO of Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters is about to hand over, they have gratitude and expectations.
In the past 2 years, I really want to thank all Tzu Chi members or volunteers, as well as the staff from the headquarters, for being together so that our entire Tzu Chi mission can be successfully operated.
In the future, we hope to recruit people of all races, religions, and all ages to join us.
The FAST team of volunteers is extremely determined at every step and will continue to move forward steadily.
In North Sumatra, Indonesia, the governor and his wife participated in the Tzu Chi's Healthier Me 21-day challenge. And we're very pleased with the results, including marked improvement in their health. Let's take a look.
Having their waistline measured and their body checked, the North Sumatra's governor and his wife showed improvements after completing the Healthier Me 21-day challenge.
Saya semakin sehat karena makan terjaga, makan teratur.
I feel healthier apart from having meals on time. We have to avoid fried food or sugar. After the 21-day challenge, I feel healthier.
21 hari terasa badan menjadi semakin nyaman.
Mudah-mudahan program ini bisa banyak disukain oleh orang.
I hope more people respond to this project. For me, it's really good for my health.
Sangat merasa senang gitu, katanya itu badannya lingkarnya lebih rendah.
Most importantly, Madame is very happy because her waist is smaller and she has no more soreness. She became healthier and her skin is better.
Mindan's volunteers invited 2 local vegetarian restaurants to prepare whole plant-based meal boxes, and they have completed the 3rd session of the event.
Stanford University recently released their annual top 2% world scientists. Among the list is Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital's own Dr. Hann-Chorng, a specialist in urology who innovated new treatment methods and wrote over 600 dissertations. Let's take a look at this respected medical specialist.
Publishing a book with his students, Dr. Hann-Chorng is giving a few copies to his patients with spinal injuries so they may better understand how to take care of themselves at home.
My fellow peers have suffered from urinary tract problems, which have led to their deaths. In the past this field, no one was set on focused study for it.
Dr. Guo is a urologist at the Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center. He graduated from National Taiwan University with a specialty in urology. He has written over 600 dissertations. His method of combating urinary incontinence with Botox has been ranked as #1 in the form of treatment. In 2021, he was even named as a top 2% of scientists of the world by Stanford University, with career-long impact placing him 7th in the Taiwan region. A free clinic 30 years ago connected Dr. Guo and a bunch of friends in wheelchairs. They come to Dr. Guo's clinic hours for checkups, and he helps them improve their quality of life.
I must see Dr. Guo. I feel much more at ease when I come to his clinic hours. He keeps saying he's going to retire, but we don't want that. I don't know who else to go to if he retires.
Dr. Guo has made quite a name for himself in the treatment of urination disorders.
In pursuit of the truth, we must look for the right diagnosis or treatment.
His research in urology has become guidelines for diagnosis and treatment worldwide. His recognition as a Stanford top 2% world scientist is well deserved.
He has such devotion that he can maintain passion for it for over 30 years now. He is very welcoming and accepting of new technology. And for him to receive this honor, I think it's well deserved.
Seeing how much he works as his student, we also cannot take it easy in our research or clinical trials. We continue to strive towards catching up with him. I was very surprised because I never thought of myself as a top scientist. However, I do think of myself as a very pragmatic doctor. As for patient care, we should provide them with the newest innovative treatment. And that's how my papers come about. I think this was not something expected. It's such an affirmation of my life's work as a soon-to-be retired doctor.
Master Zheng Yan's end-of-year trip around Taiwan took her to Taichung's Jingse Hall. The blessing ceremony, 14 newly certified volunteers performed a Suda adaptation on stage with other volunteers. During the event, everyone came together and made a mutual vow to do good deeds for the benefit of the world.
Hann
Tzu Chi volunteer Zheng Weimin interprets the parable of the burning house as if he is acting in his own life. His life is like a burning house, pursuing only desire. He fell ill 3 years ago and finally realized the right direction in life.
I've been obsessed with greed, anger, and delusion all my life. Later, I paid close attention to every word written by the Master. I controlled my greed with my discipline, concentration, and wisdom. I'm not chaotic, unaffected when I'm in danger. When the situation is difficult, there must be more compassionate and repentance.
At the time of the pandemic, the 2 doctors from Kuantan Tzu Chi Hospital seized the opportunity to be trained as Tzu Chi volunteers and to be undertake more responsibilities.
I'm a vegetarian, and I use this opportunity to make me more engaged and become a boost of the Master.
After I join the Tzu Chi big family, I will do more with everyone to help more people, and I will do my best to do what I can.
Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shuyan was once a recipient, but now is a helper. The change in her mind also turned a page in her life story.
I am not the one who suffers the most. I have the ability to help people. Everyone is a scripture story waiting to be told. Working through our own past cause and present result, we must work hard to write our own scripts, and our destiny can be changed.
We make a wish and get a good thought, like fireflies illuminating the world.
其实呢，爱的能量就如这样，那一张张的、一叠叠的捡起来，就很扎实了，而且呢，少不了这样的一个个铜板。总而言之啦，这大小啦、抓张、人格啊，总是代名词。一个最实在的就是爱，那一份的爱心，点滴汇合起来，那可以呢普救天下。
In mid-May of this year, COVID led many psychiatric medical care across Taiwan to close. As a result, people with mental disabilities have been squeezed out of care. Furthermore, one hospital was converted to a COVID-19 ward, leading mental patients to go elsewhere or remain at their homes, creating even more problems. Here's more.
I'm at the Ministry of Health and Welfare's Taidong Hospital. During the Level 3 pandemic alert, it was listed as a hospital dedicated to COVID-19. Therefore, for May 28th, all patients with mental disorders in the hospital were discharged.
The government said the mental ward had to be closed. When we received the order, we were very surprised. As far as the family is concerned, and even the patients, they couldn't adjust so quickly.
They emptied the hospital, so the patients immediately transferred to our Yuli hospital, and we took over their medical care.
Patients asked me when they will be able to come back to Taidong Hospital. Everyone is a little bit reluctant to leave.
Of the 18 people with serious mental health disabilities who were urgently transferred, more than a month later when the pandemic was downgraded, 11 of them returned to their original hospital.
During the pandemic, a small number of hospitals may reduce or close mental clinics due to the need for pandemic prevention. This indeed could cause possible obstacles for the mentally impaired when going to the doctor.
Tzu Chi participated in this patient evacuation, feeling bounced around like a human ball at the time, before finally returning to a familiar psychiatric ward.
Do I like staying in the hospital or staying at home? I like it here because I have more friends.
When he is discharged from the hospital, family members start to be nervous because if he comes back home, they worry that he will be violent again. A few days later, he got ill again and was sent to the hospital again, and kept going back and forth to the hospital.
Family members hope that sick family members will be given professional doctors for long-term treatment, but the mental health resources in remote areas are seriously insufficient. There are nearly 2,000 patients in Taitung who are certified with physical and mental disabilities. The total number of local psychiatrists is only 11.
Taitung is difficult to recruit medical personnel, let alone doctors or medical staff, because it's relatively remote. With fewer doctors, they have to be more enthusiastic about their work.
Enthusiasm supports these medical staff who are willing to work in rural communities.
It's okay to have such cases at home that may be suspected of mental disorders. He doesn't want to come, and family members can bring them, so the doctor can visit the severely impaired patients. If he doesn't interfere with others, for example, if he doesn't have the possibility of self-injury, we can force him to be hospitalized.
On the one hand, Taiwan also attaches great importance to human rights and says that personal freedom cannot be restrained. But on the other hand, we also hope to provide people with a safe environment. Sometimes there's a conflict between these two principles.
Statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare show that there are about 110,000 people with mental disabilities living in communities in Taiwan. In addition, there are 8,500 people with high-risk mental illness who are at risk of suicide, domestic violence, and sexual assault, which may live near you. Due to the mental health law, only people with mental disabilities who self-injure can be forced to go to the doctor. Otherwise, they cannot be forced to see a doctor and take medication. There are nearly 100 mental patients living in the community in Yuli Township, Hualien County. Because they are located in a remote township and the medical capacity of the local clinics is insufficient, the medical team of the Yuli Hospital of the Ministry of Health and Welfare conducts psychiatric home treatment. More than 120,000 people with mental disorders are under the government supervision. More than 180 care workers regularly check in by telephone and home visits. Even with the occasional support of the public health nurses and social workers, the amount of medical care needed can still be overwhelming, with the manpower ratio being 1 to 190.
The Social Safety Net project has increased the budget by 10 billion NT dollars. With this, we hope to add more community care workers and mental health social workers to assist people with mental disabilities.
People with mental disabilities face shortages of medical care, which is just as much as a threat of COVID-19 viruses. How to strike a balance between human rights, pandemic prevention, social safety is a big test for the government and the general public.
Christmas is coming, and nurses and doctors in the pediatric ward of Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital hope that children and their parents can temporarily celebrate the holiday while remembering good oral hygiene. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.